a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
The boat shuddered, and the water began to boil. A giant figure erupted from the river. I could see him only from the waist up, but he towered several meters over the boat. His body was humanoid, bare-chested and hairy, with purplish skin. A rope belt was tied around his waist, festooned with leather pouches, severed demon heads, and other charming bits and bobs. His head was a strange combination of lion and human, with gold eyes and a black mane donned with dreadlocks. His blood-splattered mouth was feline, with his bristly whiskers and razor-sharp fangs. He roared, scaring Khufu right off the gangplank. The poor baboon did a flying leap into Carter's arms, which knocked them both to the deck. Welcome to Of the Hills of God. I don't know what I was doing there. Welcome to Of the Hills of God, where we discuss Rick Riordan's role as our godly parent.
I'm Raye, following the path of Geb.
And I'm Charlie, following the path of Bast. And the energy is weird here today.
When is it not? I feel like we've said that like the last 4 episodes.
Listen. The energy just happens, and it just be. Today the energy is just like, ugh. That's just the energy, and it has nothing to do with the chapter.
Being a young adult is very difficult. I would not recommend it.
Being a young adult who's apparently in my late 20s, how?
Disgusting.
Literally how?
Imagine being in your late 20s. A nightmare.
God, you're gonna be your 30s soon, right?
Yeah, fuck that shit.
I'm so sorry, man.
I also hate that it's 2025 now. I know that it's been 2025 for a little bit now, but like, that's so far into the 2000s.
I mean, yeah.
It's
about a quarter of a century.
Yeah, too much, man.
We're about 25% into
patches
the
of time.
21st century.
Disgusting.
Somebody needs to make one of those progress bars, like the Tumblr progress bars. We're about 25% into the 21st century. Yay! We did it. Only 75% more to go. It's fine. I'm not gonna make it.
My friends were actually joking about that recently. Like, oh, we're gonna make it. Like, I have to live.
You can have robot bodies
over 100 years. It's not impossible. We could all get there.
I don't know if I want to though. Like, I barely want to be here now.
We can't get into this. We can't. You can't be low-key suicidal on the podcast. No one wants to hear that.
I mean, I'm also just thinking of the state of the world in general.
Oh yeah, big mood. Okay. This bad energy. Okay, back to it. What if I told you about a chapter of a story?
Yeah, a chapter where we're going into death.
No, it's fine. It's literally fine.
Everything is fine. There's just a demon who has free samples. Is this a correct chapter title?
Chapter title, 100% accurate. Deals with the main conflict of the chapter. Short, to the point, a little silly without actually spoiling anything about the book. And perfect. 100%, no notes. This is what you want to see from a Rick Riordan chapter title. That's what's in the chapter. It's a demon with free samples. Okay, so let me tell you about him. So, Bloodstained Blade and Khufu, they navigate us and the Egyptian queen through the dangerous rapids of the First Cataract. Bast tells us how the souls of the dead miss the sun god Ra, and incidentally she explains how cosmology and mythology coexist in Rick's, universe here. It's, very interesting stuff. Carter and Sadie, they deal with their first challenge to enter the land of the dead. They're there, but, you need challenges. Well, they're on the river, the dead. Okay, we'll get into it later. They have to name this demon guy. He shows up. They have to tell him his name. Carter goes to read a book like a fucking nerd while Sadie stalls, but her charisma stat is so high that she just gets him to tell her what it is. So they succeed, and our team heads off towards the Lake of Fire for next chapter. That's it. It's pretty short.
Amazing. Good shit. You know what I didn't bother to do until just now while you were talking?
Yeah?
Was see if this guy
Yeah, is this a real guy?
is a real
What
guy
is
in
it?
mythology.
Shezmu?
So guess what? I didn't have something prepared. Now I have
Okay, good. I was
a
figuring,
section.
like this did not feel like something Rick made up. This felt like a guy.
I think I just like forgot that there was a guy in this one when making all my notes for myth
mythology
sections.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So, in case you missed it,
But
let's talk about Shezmu. Let me send
Sweet.
you the page. Literally, Shezmu.
Yay, his own wiki, good for him.
I want you to look at the picture and see if that is what you thought this man
That's
looked
not
like.
exactly what I was picturing, but like, you know, this works.
See, for some reason, they chose the other version of him where he has a vulture head instead.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, both are correct. Sometimes he has a vulture head, sometimes he has a lion head, according to this. So Rick was just like, lions, because then I can make a cat joke.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Bast is here. So as he literally described in the chapter, he is the god of ointments, perfume, and wine. Also, apparently, he's the god of festivities, dancing, and singing.
I love this fucking guy.
Is this Dionysus? Is this just Dionysus? I think we found our party guy.
Hell yeah, hell
it.
yeah. No, that actually even makes sense given Dionysus's like weird ass violent cult. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm
this all
that's
tracks.
What I'm thinking. He's considered a god of blood because he slaughtered and dismembered people. Very cool, very cool.
Okay, so they're saying it's possible the ancient Egyptians used red wine to symbolize blood in religious offerings. So, like, so that, you know, the connection is right there, just like in. But I was also like, oh my god, just like my Christianity, I've also done that.
It's just like
just
the
like
Jesus
ancient
cult.
Humanity is all the
Christianity
same.
is just stealing more things.
Yeah,
Jesus himself
I wouldn't be surprised.
stole something from the Egyptians. Does that mean Jesus did the cultural appropriation?
So, see, if it's not a closed practice, then it's just cultural exchange, you know?
I mean, true. I don't know. I don't
know.
Just want to know what's happening
I don't know.
here.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's not depicted very often, but yeah, he's got his animal heads and butcher knives because he just likes knives.
This guy fucking
Why
rules.
not? Apparently, he's also just a god of contradictory personality, is what it says here. So we have titles for this man: Lord of Perfume, Maker of all precious oil, Lord of the oil press, Lord of ointments, and Lord of wine. Also, Lord of blood, Great Slaughterer of the gods, He who dismembers bodies.
Hell yeah.
Listen, another great chapter title, He who dismembers bodies. Okay? So he's just got a lot going on here. He's vindictive, he's bloodthirsty, but he loves a good party. He dismembered gods and cooked them, apparently. And he did this to try to appease Osiris. Okay, sure.
Okay.
Why not? That's his king. Sure. I guess that's his connection to the underworld here, or the land of the dead. There isn't really a whole lot about Osiris, but it does say gives food to a deceased king. So we're putting in Osiris for deceased king, basically. Okay, more about red wine being the blood of the gods and connections there. Ooh, he was one of the protectors of Ra on the bark, the solar bark.
On his trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love this. He's just getting into brawls with demons. it slaps. It's so fun. What a fun
the god
guy.
of bar fights. This is
Yeah.
the god of bar fights. In my
Yeah,
brain.
exactly.
Yeah, I think he has more connections to Ra, honestly, because we don't have any actual connection to Osiris here, but a couple to Ra. Like, he made his fine oils for Ra himself, apparently. So,
God of crushing and squishing things to get stuff out of him.
mood. Why not?
Why not?
The hell not? That's Shezmu, everybody. There's not a whole lot else on him. That's it.
What
There's
else
like
possibly
2
need to be
sentences about his
perfect?
cult. And that's all. Let's talk about the chapter that is so short. We got to it in just over 10 minutes. So
not to bring the mood down again, but when we're like feeling a little down, I feel like we become more efficient. List tangents.
no, let's have another tangent, buddy. Let's talk about how depressed we are.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, just like Sadie. Me, I slept like the dead, which I hoped wasn't a sign of things to come.
Good opener. We're in it, Sadie. We're in it with you.
Yeah. So Carter, for once, is not telling Sadie about his dream. So, like, remember, like, chapters ago when you were just like, oh, we got a cliffhanger, and now it's a Sadie chapter. We're not gonna, find out what happened at the end of the dream. But instead, it's more like Carter's just, like, holding all that in. He's like, I'm not gonna share. He's
processing. He had a weird night.
Yeah. Also, you know what? You know who's driving the boat today?
It's Khufu, and I trust him with my life.
He's not manning the boat. He's babooning.
Yes.
I love it. He's learning a new skill now.
No, Khufu knows what he's doing. Bloodstained Blade says 2 degrees to starboard, and Khufu does that shit. Like, he's got it on lock.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was giving him pointers. that could be it. That could be it. Khufu, proficient in vehicles, water. on his page. It's going on there. Okay, so we're going to something ahead, and we don't have exactly a map, but we do have a book,
which basically is a map. It's like an annotated map with like it's a road trip guide.
Yeah, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Land of the Dead.
Carter calls it the Idiot's Guide to the Afterlife, and Bloodstained Blade is like, excuse me? I'm not an idiot, fuck you.
I guess I also could have, like, brought up the Book of the Dead, because that is, like, an actual thing, but, like, it's just, it's what they described in this chapter. It's the book that a lot of people had with them when they were buried, so that they could find their way to Osiris's house. And okay, we're finally getting to that first cataract that we were talking about last time.
Here we go.
The cataracts are in our eyes. We're here. And it looks like we're going to die, like, several times. We're swerving around rocks in this little tiny steamboat.
Oh, also the river turned into blood at some point.
Yeah, of course it did. Because nothing could be more ominous than water turning to blood.
I mentioned that here because Sadie is like, well, we're going over these whitewater rapids. Well, red water, but you get it.
Yeah. And they literally go down a waterfall, which is, what a cataract is. So it's really not fun. Like, Sadie's ears pop. Like, that's how it's not fun, guys.
Yeah.
And we're officially in the land of the dead after crossing that waterfall. And we're on the River of Night, is what it's called now. It's just the shadow of all rivers of the world,
Yeah. Of course. What else would it be?
Of course. This is just a lot of, like, world building and shit.
Mm-hmm. There's also ghosts here now.
Yeah. I mean, just like how, I guess there's, like, spirits on, like, one side of, like, the river that Charon has to lead them on, into the land of the dead. This is kind of where all those souls just get stuck and they're waiting.
These are the guys who did not have a good roadmap.
Yeah. They got lost. Poor people. But they're also waiting for Ra, because, Ra would keep the forces of chaos from, hurting
Menacing
them.
them on their little ghost villages.
Yeah. Poor people. So this is really interesting how they're like, oh yeah, like Ra, he just like doesn't even do his like whole sun thing anymore.
Yeah, he's like gone.
But I'm pretty sure like that's specifically what he does in the myth after Isis makes him retreat into the heavens. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to retreat into his solar bark forever. But I could be misinterpreting it, but I thought that's what was supposed to happen. So it's very interesting that like this is instead like, oh, he just doesn't like the sun is just the ball of gas in the sky. There is no Ra also being the sun at the same time.
Yeah, he retreated into the heavens. We've been sort of talking about this throughout the book, is that like Ra pieced out and then Bast had to deal with a bunch of shit by herself, and then everybody else apparently has to deal with their shit by themselves, and it's like, Ra, aren't you king? Like, come back and do your job.
Yeah, we did also have to explain that like the sun is the sun, but also Ra is the sun, but also like, hey, let's not forget Apollo is also the sun, and like, you know,
As
we've done this
someone
road before.
who grew up in a Protestant church, this does not challenge my brain at all. I'm like, things can be several. I'm like, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are all three, but also one, and they're all God at the same time, but they all are also individuals. This makes perfect sense to me. I have no issues internalizing this. The sun is Apollo and Ra, and also a ball of gas in the sky. That's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, you're bringing up the Christianity, and my brain's just like thinking of like triple gods and all of that, and how Christianity is supposed to be monotheism, but it's also like a triple god
Yeah.
at the
Don't
same
worry
time.
about yeah. Don't worry about it.
I'm just saying they would think that that's heresy if I said that, but it's true.
It's a weird ass religion.
They all are.
No, that's
So-
true. That's true.
Sadie gets a little bit in her head about this. She's like, okay, well, this is all like Isis's fault. And if that's true, I guess somehow that means it's my fault because I'm Isis right now, but also like, ugh, fuck this. I do like how she's like, Rush, just come back. Why doesn't he just do that?
Ross should wake up and smell the shalab. love Sadie.
And Bast is just like, I mean, yeah, but this is not gonna happen.
Ain't the way that things are, you know?
So sad.
World's gonna end someday, presumably.
Sadie also considered punching herself to get back at Isis, but realized that would
Didn't
hurt.
seem worth it.
How do you punch a goddess who's inhabiting your body?
Very carefully.
Clearly. Alright, so they have to get to the prow of the boat because there's a challenge coming soon. That's just like, this is kind of just like a thing, and I think we're gonna get more into this like in later books in the series, but going into like the duat, like in Ra's like his whole how he goes across like the different like lands of it throughout the night. There's always like different like challenges, different like forces that he has to fight at different times.
Mm-hmm.
So like this feels like very familiar if you know that story. Like, oh, here's a challenge. Why not?
Now that we've like looked into him a little, it's interesting that Shezmu was one of the guys who would have been helping Ra with that stuff, but now he's on the opposite side.
It's like, Rick, did you choose that because like he's out of a job?
He definitely did, because they mentioned that in the chapter, which I'm a little sad for him now.
They mentioned that he's out of a job because Osiris isn't here, because instead Rick was like, we're gonna link him to Osiris instead.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. So Bast, Carter, and Sadie are at the prow of the boat. They're waiting, and Bast explains that mortals have to be challenged specifically to prove their worth.
Right.
Sure. Let's go with that. It's like, okay, who we're gonna be challenged by? It is Lion Dude.
He's got purplish skin. He's got a belt with a bunch of stuff and some demon heads on it. He's got a big old black mane. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the vibes.
I was imagining him as incredibly buff. I don't think that it particularly says that here. Maybe I guess just bare chested and hairy, and I'm like, he must be like stacked.
Yeah, like he sounds like he's a barbarian. He should be,
Yeah.
you know, but big buff dude.
Yeah, the images of him on the wiki were not like incredibly stacked, which I like
No.
clocked.
Rude. I mean, they have. I don't know if it's just the Wikipedia stock image for the gods, but like the general image for the gods, they all have the same exact body type. So
Right.
So he is Shezmu. He is Bloody Lion Man, and he is doing a Rumpelstiltskin. Even though he told us his name, they must name him, but like with his secret name.
Yeah,
you know?
they need his full title, which you can find on Wikipedia. So he's like, why do people always know? I think I figured it out, guy. You can look it up.
You know, it's fine. Everything's fine. Carter is literally like, we could look in the Book of the Dead. I'll let me check. I'll get that. Because we have that right here. Let's go do it. So Sadie has to keep him busy, just keep him talking, you know? And this is the vibe. This is the like, you know, the Percy goading the guy into whatever thing and somehow finding the answer that I love so much. Oh, she does say he's well muscled. There you go.
Okay, good.
Because she's like, oh, do you work out? Because
and Bast is like, good job.
That's
Isis is also like, good job. They're like, Sadie, you're so good at this.
Yeah. So she's asking him about him, you know, like it's really good to do that when you're like on a date or like
when you're meeting someone. Yeah, you want to show interest in them.
You got to get them to talk about them. People love talking about themselves. So ask questions all the time. So like you're Lord of what? Like what kind of titles did you have? He was Osiris's royal executioner, the Lord of Blood and Wine, and yeah, you know.
So yeah, he specifically says that he crushes the wicked in his wine press and makes them into wine. I don't remember reading that, but that might have been in there somewhere.
There was something about crushing. He do
be crushing and getting fluids out of things. Sorry.
I love it.
Teddy keeps watching like these TikToks of like an AI voice reading like 2-sentence horror stories, and it's like I'm so glad that my penis isn't being crushed. It will be, said the penis crusher guy. So
that's the whole thing.
Yeah, just like
amazing. Thank you, Teddy. So he's also Lord of Perfume, and he, you know, he offers the free samples. You know,
he sure does. So usually, okay, like sometimes like Rick's chapter titles are like a little coy, a little funny with it, you know. It would be like they would say that he offers free samples, but he just like mentions perfume at some point. No, he literally does it in the chapter. Most accurate chapter title in the whole book.
He's flexing his muscles and like, I am Lord of Perfume. He's so proud of it. And
Sadie's like, this doesn't quite seem to follow. And he's like, no. Well, no, she does like figure it out, doesn't she? She's like, yeah, you crush stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a squeezer. He's a crusher. He's a squeezer.
The penis crusher guy.
Yeah, he's the penis crusher.
Yeah, anyways.
So he's got his free sample. It's called Eternity. Love that. And I love this. Sadie finally gets right to it, and she's like, so what do your friends call you? Like, Shezzy, Bloodseekins?
Well, I don't think she was even going for it. Like, this is just another, like conversation starter, and he just does it.
Yeah. He's like, I have no friends.
Oh my god.
But if I did, they would call me Slaughter of Souls, Fierce of Face. Which were not things that were named in the Wikipedia.
Oh, were they not? Okay, well.
They were not. Like, everything else he
it's
says.
good, though. It's good. And yeah, Carter comes back and he's like, well, I can't quite read this, but I did find this, and it, like, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, just gotten it.
I got it. Don't worry about it.
Step back, Carter. I literally have this right now.
Literally, she rolled a 20 on charisma. Like, I'm not even joking. Nat 20.
Against a guy who has, what, like a 10?
Yeah.
So, I love how he's just like, how do they always know? And as they're about to be let pass, Sadie's just like, my brother wants a free sample. Because she has to mess with Carter. Obviously. We did it, guys. We fucking did it. He must smell great, honestly.
He must.
Like, what do the perfumes smell like? That's my only question.
She just
said
they smell like smelling. Blood? It's a yellow dust. It does not smell like blood. But you know how, like, French aristocrats thought that, like, bathing was, like, bad for you? And so they would just, like, cover themselves in perfume constantly to, like, cover up their stank.
I did not know about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a thing. So I imagine that he actually smells very bad.
Oh, God.
Just stank with, like, cloying sweetness, like, over it.
Oh, no. I hate it so much. Oh, I was into this guy for a second. I was just like, oh yeah, he seems cool. He seems fun.
I do vibe with Shezmu, though.
I don't want him to be
what a
smelly.
guy.
I want him to be sweet smelling. Just sweet smelling, not gross smelling also.
And Sadie's like, what a nice fellow.
And Carter's like, what the fuck, Sadie?
I'm covered in yellow shit now.
And they found the lake of fire, and that's the end of the fucking chapter.
Yeah.
How did we do this in 30 minutes?
Well, when a chapter is 9 pages long, sometimes these things just happen. Yeah.
The thing is, I know the next one is both a not a long one, but like a long enough. And we're gonna have enough to talk about.
And we have a guest, so...
Exactly. I know the shits. I know how it works.
So it's fine. It's likely that the next one is gonna be a super long one, so y'all can just have a little shorty this week.
Apparently. Let's talk about random shit now. Let's do you like perfume? Are you a perfume person?
I'm generally not, actually. I don't like flower scents. Like, I like lavender, but that's pretty much it. Like literally just smelling like rose or lilac I find actively unpleasant. And then perfumes are frequently too strong for me. I need really, really mildly scented things. I tend to like candles better than perfumes or lotions, but like I think that I do have like some kind of like allergy reaction, or maybe it's just like a sensory thing. I'm really not sure. But so I like scents, like I like the idea of them, but I'm like super duper picky.
I don't like scents at all.
That's valid.
Like, you take me to like Bed Bath and Body Works, and I want to die. Like, I actively
bro, it's the autism. I can't believe you went the vast majority of your life not knowing about the autism. That is so classic, broski.
It's the fact that my parents were like, you've been tested, you're fine. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I will take that at face value.
Have just changed so much since we were like kids, you know? Like the autism spectrum was not a thing back then. There was Asperger's. And, you know, that probably was like less rarely even looked for. Yeah. And it's like, well, you're a functioning person. Why does it matter? So yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm actually not a functioning person.
I can't walk into a perfume store. Did you know this? Did you know this about me?
It's the fact that my parents did not realize I was not a functioning person.
Yeah, no, me too, though. They're like, oh, you're doing fine. And if you're not doing fine, it's your fault. And
I think it's because their parents are probably also autistic and they don't know it.
Yeah. The neurodivergence does in fact run in families. Wow.
Mhm. As I found out, it's patrilineal.
Oh.
You get that shit from your dad if you get it.
Haha.
Usually.
My brother's kids are autistic. Anyways.
I was like, I think I got it from both sides, actually.
Yeah.
Personally. Someone who has a Barbie room, totally not mistaken anyway. Okay, what do we do here? We do plugs.
Yeah, we sure do.
Let's think about plugs. I
actually do have one because I was thinking about it before we started. I started over Cult of the Lamb recently, which is a fun little game. It's a hack and slash roguelike like Hades is, but it also has like a farming sim element, kind of. Not like a farming sim, but like a little society sim, but it's a cult. And so it's a hard game to try to recommend because it does make light of like extremely heavy topics. You know, if you were someone who is actually like a cult survivor, like I wouldn't say this would be a good one for you because you're just like a little sheep and you're a cult leader and you can do some very fucked up stuff, and they're just little animal guys. And it's a very cute, very charming game. I actually really like what little narrative there is to it. I find like the lore like really fun. You have to go kill all of the gods in support of your god who gives you your powers, and then you also go kill him.
Same, bro. Let's go kill
anyways,
God.
It's kind of rad. It kind of slaps if you're cool with, you know, indoctrinating people and like using mushrooms to brainwash them and like yeah, this is the kind of content you will find. And then you also like build them little houses and and like decorate your little cult space. It's really cute.
Oh my.
And it's updated a lot since I last played it. You can do a sex ritual now. They don't call it that. It's like a naked dance. They don't call it an orgy, but we all know.
You could do a sex ritual. Oh god. Oh.
Anyways.
Did I think of a plug while you were doing that? No, I did not. Because I was just like,
I mean,
what the
it's a
fuck
pretty
is
distracting
happening?
idea. Yeah. Yeah, you like playing Hades though, right? It's not as mechanically robust as all that, and like the controls don't feel like nearly anywhere as good, but the basis of the game is pretty much the same. So if you like Animal Crossing and also Hades, it's a pretty fun like literal merging of the two.
Good shit. Okay, wait. I realized what I meant to plug. So last time I was talking about how I've been getting back into my Fate watching of things, the Fate Stay Night Nasuverse type moon shit. So last time I watched Unlimited Blade Works. This time I watched Heaven's Feel, the recent movies, which I'm not gonna lie, they really went a different direction with how that storyline goes. Like, yeah, like that storyline just goes in some interesting places. So if you know anything about Fate Stay Night or anything, I've already mentioned that it's like the different routes and all of that. Also, I guess also in a way, it's kind of a dating sim because from what I know of it, the 3 different routes also link to 3 different girls that you can romance in the game.
Of course. What else?
So Unlimited Blade Works is if you're romancing Rin Tosaka, and Heaven's Feel is if you're romancing Sakura Mato. And boy howdy, Sakura's route is so damn dark.
Oh god.
I mean, they're all fucking damn dark because that's just how this world is. Vibe. But Sakura's route, I think, is the darkest of all of them. And my brain's just like, okay, I enjoy this one for the fact that, I mean, I love the prequel, so I know like all of their backstory and I know like things that happen to like her as a small child, and like her route gives me closure on some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a way, I'm like, oh, good. Like I'm finally like getting to see like an arc for you. That's so good. I enjoy this. But I'm also like, bro, we didn't have to go quite this hard, did we? I don't think we did. And because it's movies instead of like the TV show format, they really went for like, oh, you've seen this stuff before. We're going to like show you a sequence of all that's happened in the first few like days of this that stay the same in every single route. Like we're not gonna spoon feed all of that shit to you again.
Right.
And I was like so happy about it. But in the Heaven's Feel route, at least for like the when were these made? Like 2017 or something like that. Heaven's Feel. Let me double check this information. 2017 is when the first one came out. Okay. So these ones, in fact, do have Ladybug and Cat Noir falling in love.
What? Whoa.
And in Unlimited Blade Works, Reen is played by Tiki. So that's why I was like, last time I was like, it's Cat Noir and Tiki falling in love. What the heck?
Yeah. I see.
Yeah. And I also didn't realize that the voice actress who plays Reen has played her in both the Heaven's Feel movies, the Unlimited Blade Works show, Fate Zero, and the old 2006 Fate Stay Night anime, which is the Fate route of it, where instead you romance Saber. So
good for her. Hell yeah.
She's in all of them. Very cool. Yeah, Heaven's Feel, pretty cool. Also, real fucked up.
My roommates have been rewatching Hunter x Hunter, and they just got to the Chimera Ant arc. God, talk about fucked up shit in anime.
You know what? Maybe at some point I should. I've been thinking about this as I've been watching these, but I'm like, maybe at some point I should talk to you about these things in a little bit more detail, because some of the characters, Greek mythology.
Yes, of course.
There's like 3 of them in Fate Stay Night.
We could do a Fate-based bonus episode.
We could do that at some point.
Yeah, Greek mythology, Fate lore. I'd be down for that.
Good shit. Very good shit. I like it. Yeah, that's all I got for you today.
Okay. Well, why don't you release us from this mortal coil then?
I mean, once again, we're still going into the land of the dead anyway. So like,
yeah, I should really stop saying that, but you know.
Yeah, especially with how this episode started out. Still want to be here. So yeah, get the fuck out of my house. Get the fuck out of life. You're going to death. Apparently, it's happening.
Oh, I mean,
you
we're
defeated Shezmu, my boy, and
what if instead of doing any quests or anything, we just party with Shezmu? I'm so down.
Let's party with Shezmu. Like, as long as he's showered, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Okay, and on that note, everybody, bye.
Bye. Of the Eldest Gods would like to thank its $10 and up patrons. This means you're either in the Savior of Olympus tier or the God Complex tier on our Patreon, patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. Thank you all so much for your support, especially Matt, our God Complex patron.
You can follow this podcast socials at Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send us a message through the Duat to oftheeldestgodspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, join us at patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. By becoming a patron, you can join the Deus Ex Media Discord server, where you'll be able to chat with us and other listeners about the Riordanverse or whatever else. Our $5 patron tier also gets you access to Against All Odds, our monthly bonus show. There, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics, which usually have something to do with mythology, no promises. You can check out our merch store on Redbubble to find custom designs made by Charlie, Or if you cannot or do not want to support us financially, we'd really appreciate a rating, a review, or letting your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. If you want to hear more from me, Raye, check out Barbie Movie Slap, a podcast where my co-host Ted and I discuss Barbie's cinematic universe. That podcast Twitter is at Barbie Slaps.
You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws. You can also hear my voice on 2 other podcasts. I co-host another podcast on the network with the meme maker Robert called The Bits, where we talk about the Cartoon Network show Steven Universe. I also co-host a non-network podcast with my buddy Ethan called Mysteries in the Machine, where we talk about all things Scooby-Doo. Our music was created and produced by Isabel Strauss-Riggs. You can find Isabel at Kane I, that's I is in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. She also currently makes video essays on the YouTube channel Kane I. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
Of the Eldest Gods is based on the series by Rick Riordan. Right now we are discussing the Kane Chronicles. Remember to follow us on your favorite podcatcher and meet us back here every Thursday.
If you're evil and you're on the rise,
You can count on the 2 of us taking you down.
That's right, folks. After a year and a half of covering Season 1 of Steven Universe,
The Bits is finally covering Season 2 of our favorite queer cartoon from over 10 years ago.
we're coming back better than ever.
With new questions to ask and new Pearl points to give.
We're hoping this season won't have as many breaks.
And even though we're only covering half as many episodes this season,
We know we'll have even more content.
so grab some fry bits
And join your favorite jam buds, Charlie.
and Robert every Friday wherever you get podcasts.
This chapter was like less than 10 pages. I'm very confused how we went from like 30 pages to
It'd just be like
9.
that. Book pacing, yay!
There is no pacing. There's none. Alright, here's my intro.
Dave X Media.